Hello and welcome to this week's Hippie Hyena. So, I often record episodes like this in advance of when I upload them. But as of today, when I'm recording it, the election is basically over. The American election, it ended quite a long time ago. It was called quite a while ago. And yeah, as of today, the right-wingers are still crowing about it and trying to cope with the fact they lost and pretend that they didn't, and pretend that there can be something that they could do to overturn democracy in America. Now, by the time this video comes out, it will probably be after Joe Biden's official inauguration. But I imagine even after that, they'll still be crowing about it just as they are today as I record this. So let's take a look at And We Know, which is a YouTube channel, a right-wing YouTube channel that spouts nonsense. And it's interesting to note that recently I did a video about the right-wing's accusations of censorship against them. Specifically, they said that talking about how the election was fraudulent was completely banned online by big tech. And yet I just pulled this video off YouTube today. So clearly either the censorship isn't working or it's not happening. Be my guest to decide which one you think it is. Anyway, let's jump into his video. This is so funny. and they say the right has no sense of humor. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's like totally like something out of a Zucker Brothers movie, or maybe even like something by Chris Morris.
War has broken out. This is a war.
That's it. Yes, it's war. From now on, the Day-to-Day will be providing the most immediate coverage of any war ever fought. On the front line and in your face, Donald Bethlehem.
Standing by, Douglas Hurd.
The Day-to-Day smart bombs have nose-mounted cameras. This is Smart Bomb Stephen, and that is Susanna Gekkeloy.
Completely over the top, completely absurd. So funny. They always just like ramp themselves up into a sort of mad frenzy. And they do that first before any facts or information has been shared in any sense. They're already at some sort of crazed, rapid, kind of paranoid, rage-filled, ecstatic state. And that, I suppose, is the sort of the correct state of mind to be consuming this kind of content. And by correct, I mean incorrect.
So I'm hoping that some of that comes out of me tonight, because we are getting very close to losing our country if this doesn't play out the way that we've been promised and told. And I believe that God Almighty is in charge. God knows what he's doing, and he's going to take care of us. And he's using a man who's been putting out truth that we've known for years, but many people are getting upset with him because they haven't heard the things that we've discussed. You guys heard it from me for almost 2 years now on this channel and several channels for many years. It's from Lynn Wood. He said, "So I have now conveyed the truth as I know it. There has been a rising chorus of people questioning my sanity in recent days."
And why do you think that is? It's not because you're saying things that people don't like. It's because you're making wild, baseless accusations with no evidence, no reason for you to believe them. It's just the sort of thing you might expect. And I say this not in a sort of overblown, exaggerated, kind of mocking way, but it is literally the sort of thing that you'd expect a schizophrenic to say. It's like delusional, conspiratorial, paranoid nonsense. And usually when somebody is spouting this sort of crazy nonsense online or in other places, people who care about them stage some kind of intervention, some kind of psychiatric intervention. Maybe he needs some medication, maybe he needs some therapy, maybe he needs to sort of take a break for a while in some kind of facility. And I'm not saying this to sort of stigmatize mental health, because I get enough of that, and that's not what I'm doing. But clearly the man's not right. He's having some kind of problem, and everyone can see it. And this is a big problem on the right, mental illness, because there is so little difference between generalized right-wing thought and full-blown mental illness that mental illness can go completely unchecked for years in that culture, and people aren't getting the help they need. Instead, their sort of delusions can even be encouraged if they corroborate the right-wing narrative, which is a very dangerous situation to be in.
Now you can understand why. I have no idea what will be done to me or said about me in coming days, but I will rest well tonight for having spoken truth. And then he puts, a traitor to we the people is exposed every few minutes these days. And folks, I'm just reading one of several that he's dropped. He's dropped a lot lately, but this one's pretty important because I've actually got him in an opener on my YouTube channel when he says that things are coming. I thought I could trust him. So he says, do some research, patriots. This is from Linwood. Senator Tom Cotton is not taking this position based on the excuses set forth in his PR statement. Follow the money. Every lie will be revealed. We put that at the end of every one of our videos.
Yeah, it's just more cryptic, sort of pseudo-Nostradamus-like vague illusion gibberish. Now, there's several reasons why a person might talk in this way. One of the major ones is that they are kind of trying to use innuendo because they don't have anything solid to put forward. That's a definite possibility here. Another possibility is that the reason they're talking in sort of vague, meaningless, non-secretarial statements is because it's a representation of what's going on inside their mind, that their mind is extremely disorganized, and it's virtually impossible to tell the difference. And Linwood's sanity is definitely in question. But what's not in question is the way that certain people are promoting this as if it is meaningful when it is meaningless. Whilst the people on the left are struggling to tell whether it's a rhetorical innuendo or genuine mental illness, the people on the right are debating what the meaning of these cryptic statements are without even questioning whether they may just mean nothing. Because you say something vague and meaningless, and people can sort of read almost whatever meaning they want into it. The vaguer the statement, the more widely you can interpret it to fit whatever narrative you want, really. It's sort of like the verbal equivalent of a Rorschach test.
Tom Cotton put on his Twitter account, please see my statement below on the joint session of Congress on January 6th. So instead of putting what he's going to say or what he wants to say, he has to have it covered up, so you have to click on it and actually find it.
Look at the spycraft on display here. It's kind of like, writing things in invisible ink or in code. You know, Tom Cotton had the genius move to conceal his thoughts and his plans via the code or the cipher of having to click on a link. I mean, most people would be foxed by that. Most people would find that to be an impossible code to crack. But the incredible investigative journalist acumen of the And We See YouTube channel was able to figure out this clever piece of 4D chess and click on the link to bring us this information.
Said, hey, quote, I share the concerns of many Arkansans, I guess that's what you say, about irregularities in the presidential election.
Just to reiterate, those so-called irregularities, completely imaginary, didn't happen. There's no evidence that they did, because they didn't. There's as much evidence for those irregularities as there was for a unicorn dancing on the top of the Eiffel Tower to end the Second World War.
Especially in states that rush through election law changes to relax standards for voting by mail.
They didn't relax standards. They just made it much easier to vote by mail because, of course, there was a COVID pandemic. And so a lot of people couldn't come, obviously. And I know that, unfortunately for you guys, that meant that people who usually can't vote now had the opportunity to. But in general, that's a good thing. And what you're attempting is literal voter suppression.
I also shared their disappointment with the election results. I therefore support a commission to study the last election and propose reforms to protect the integrity of our elections.
And here's the final little piece, which is actually truthful. I'm disappointed by the results, so I want to do something about it. It's just being a crybaby because you lost, and not being able to face the fact that you lost fair and square. That's it. You don't like the results, so you're trying to throw your toys out of the pram and have a tantrum about it to try and get it overturned. But you won't be able to. And if you did somehow madly, in spite of all of the wild incompetence of the right, somehow manage to overturn the results of a legitimate election, that would be disastrous for pretty much everybody. So, I mean, it's not the first time I've thought this, but thank God for their incompetence.
And after Republicans win in Georgia, the Senate should also hold more hearings on these matters. Nevertheless, the founders entrusted our elections chiefly to the states, not Congress.
So?
They entrusted the election of our president to the people, acting through the Electoral College, not Congress.
So?
And they entrusted the adjudication of election disputes to the courts, not Congress.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. You took your disputes to the court, and they were thrown out because they didn't have any evidence, because they were a load of old bollocks. It's absolutely baffling, and this is why people are sort of calling mental illness as to why you keep saying, oh, we need an investigation. We had an investigation. It was found that there was no fraud. You then said, well, we need to take it to the courts. That's exactly what happened. It was taken to the courts, and it was thrown out of courts because it was nonsense. And yet, you're still saying we need an investigation. You're still saying we need court cases. It's already happened. It's finished. It's over. It's in the past. And yet somehow, madly, you're just completely oblivious or deluding yourself away from the fact that exactly what you're saying should have happened has happened. It just didn't go your way. I just don't know what it will take to get it through people's skulls. Just because you didn't like the results, it doesn't mean you can just ignore that they happened. It's quite amazing. But at the same time, it's pretty funny. So I kind of hope they carry on doing this, because the more they waste their time on this wild goose chase, this Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the hill, the more they're distracted with this, the more the sensible adults in the room can get on with actually doing things. I hope you enjoyed this video. Goodbye! Mwah.